All right. So I have me up here waiting to see if I can get. It seems like it's working a little bit better now too. I have me up here. I'm trying to get the screen going now. Let's see if I can get my screen back up. I'm using StreamYard now. I think this is going to be a little bit better. Let's see. Now I'll admit I am trying to figure this out as I go. Okay, let's move this over here. Then let me move me, make me small. Move myself down to this corner here. And then how would I screen share? How do I screen share here? All right. Anyways, thank you very much for the support. I'm trying to get through it, trying to get into it. Let's at least talk tropics while I've got you guys in here. Let's get rid of that. Yep, let's get into some tropical tidbits real fast. If you guys have any questions right out of the gate, let's go ahead and hear them. If you guys can hear me okay, let's throw some questions in the chat real fast. I'm going to do some homework on the opposite end of this and see if I can get my screen shared. But in the meantime, I'll definitely continue to take questions and comments. So, in all honesty, the models are not really good at all in picking up on cutoff lows. Cutoff lows are the most difficult entity I feel for our tropical models or any model for that matter to detect. They're very difficult. Computer models most of the time, yeah, are found on computers. I mean, that's kind of the reason they're called computer models. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we gotta be looking them up on different computer programs. Different software can also pull and populate different model data. And most of the time, there are a lot of really good websites out there that you can use to, look at the model data in different forums, different categories, different levels, different overlays, all that. What are the chances of this storm coming through Georgia? Very low as of right now. And how strong hurricane wind speed is right now, it's not a hurricane. It is not forming up just yet. Once I get National Hurricane Center's page back up and running, I'll go ahead and talk you guys through that. Just want to see if I can get this screen share going. But thank you for questions. Thank you to my 47 folks still in here. We are 2 touch for the hurricanes. Whole Eastern Seaboard watch, even Florida. Yeah, that's a fair estimate. I would say the whole Eastern Seaboard should be watching. I'm trying not to overhype anything. It does look a little grim on the horizon. The storm is anticipated to develop pretty substantially once it gets its act going. Right now, I think it's impeded a little bit by the dry air that's out in front of it. If you guys watched my last 2 videos, especially today, it looked like that dense dry air out ahead of it is really going to create a bit of a struggle. Let's see, where's my Chrome tab? I'm also trying to search on the other end of this how I can search and open up my screen share. What do you think the rest of the hurricane season going to be and any U.S. impacts? So I'll tell you the truth, myself and one other YouTube weather influencer, we're picking up on something towards the back end of September, maybe even early October, that there could be something even bigger than what we're seeing out there right now that is a little concerning in terms of our anomalies. And something on the Euro is being detected that we could see something pretty substantial in terms of a major system getting out there into the Atlantic. I think I may have found my screen share. Let's see. I think we got it. I think we got it. I think it's going to work. I think we finally got it. Let's see. It's loading up right now. See if I can get my good shape. Come on, StreamYard, do your thing. What forecast entity like the European Canadian do you think is the best? So, you know, James, this year it's been very off the chain, I will say. A lot of folks still swear by the GFS. A lot of folks will still say, there we go. All right. Let me move this off to the side. And let's pull up. Back in it. We got it. We're back in. Cool. So you guys can still see me and the rest of the screen. But, you know, Euro has the Okay, oops, I accidentally removed myself from the stream. I did not mean to do that. So the Euro has the proven track record of all the other models and does seem to be one of the more reliable ones. I'm going to shrink myself down and make myself really tiny and open this up a little bit so you guys can see. Yeah, John, sorry about that. I accidentally cut myself out of the stream. Can you hear me now? I closed myself out for a brief second trying to adjust the size of my screen in the lower right-hand corner. Now I think we should be up and running. We're on NHC. If it stays a little weaker, then it would go a little more west. Yes, Scott, that's definitely a good question. That's typically what happens. So as long as you guys can hear me coming in loud and clear, typically with these storms, you look at the computer models and we look at different pieces of information in terms of what the atmosphere is. Remember physics in school, or if you take a storm that's rotating crazy, like say a Cat 3 or greater, like you notice most of the storms that go major hurricane status, you have a very cut and dried center of circulation, and it's kind of like a saw blade rotating very fast in a counterclockwise fashion. And because of the spherical nature of the Earth and the Coriolis force, that's what ends up helping to spin these storms further to the north as opposed to the west. Whereas if you have something like right now, even before your voice is cutting in and out, it's like a bad cell signal. Yeah, you know, I don't get it. It's been a struggle. It's been an uphill battle this whole time. It says my stream health is excellent. I might still need to try something a little different next time. But how are we doing now? Are we okay? I'm looking at trying to pull up some models. We're going to look at the Euro run for 18Z. But yeah, we weaker storms will typically go more west because they don't get as wrapped up in themselves and think it doesn't move as fast or doesn't go off to the north as rapidly of the shape of the earth. Yeah, it's probably, you're right, Alexandra. It's probably the loading. I'm gonna try to get science at that. How are we doing in terms of the stream? It looks like you guys are picking up what I'm putting down because it's showing up models. Everyone's talking about the models. We're gonna go to 500 millibar vorticity right now because we don't have too organized of a system. Vorticity is gonna be our best friend, and yeah, it looks like the 18Z model is all the way in. Let's get it buffered and pulled up. Of course. Honestly, I got to thank you guys. Even right now, with all the, all the dang technical difficulties in this struggle, this is very embarrassing. Maybe this is a sign I should stick to just the YouTube videos. But I figured, you know what? I think it's time I step up and do a little bit more for the channel and do these live streams. Okay, we got the euro up. Let's see if we can hang tight on this screen. This is 18Z euro data, and yeah, it looks like this stream is bogging me way down, unfortunately. But looking at the current state of the atmosphere, we have some really good spinach with both of our systems out there. The disturbance that's coming off of Africa over the Cabo Verde Islands, and then what is future Lee. This is already 66 hours out. En Puerto Rico, con unas lo que significa internet. En Puerto Rico. Don't worry, it's your content that counts. Hey, you will learn, you can do better next time. It should not be embarrassing. You are learning, and we are glad for the knowledge you are sharing. Well, thank you very much. I'm honestly ready to sure. Love your videos. Not your fault. Live streams are good. Please keep doing that. You see, not confirm anything about Central Florida. All right, let's see if I can get something going for you guys. Let me know. Can you see where my screen is right now? Because on YouTube, it looks like I'm way back behind what I'm actually saying. Yeah, no, same, honestly. But then I'd be talking for over an hour, and I'm not going to do that to you guys. All right, cool. As long as you can hear me. Okay, then yeah, I'm just going to look at Central Florida for the time being is safe. We've definitely seen stranger things happen, but right now it's looking a lot more promising that this storm is going to stay out to sea for the most part. Should be able to test it, but as a matter of fact, I just upgraded my internet speed earlier today just for the sake of this live stream. It seems like we're doing okay now. Remember, there's a delay between what you stream and YouTube. Don't run the image on your stream or you will lag yourself out. Let me go ahead and close this out then. Maybe that's what it is. All right, real quick, Alexandra, when you say don't run the image on your streamer, what do you mean by that? Forgive me for the noobish question, but because I have my StreamYard working and I know YouTube is running in the background as well. So that's what I'm using my Sony ZVF1 camera and my microphone here. I'm wondering if maybe we'll have better luck if I just plug in a webcam and do this and try to share my screen otherwise. But maybe Cat 6 Lady is right. No, Cat 6 Lady is definitely not right. That was funny, though. I will admit, it is very ironic that we have a storm possibly bubbling up on the horizon right around the same time. Don't run YouTube or your OBS or your streaming app in the background. So I have OBS off. I have StreamYard on. Let me see what happens if I close this out. All right. So for those of you who can see my screen right now, I'm going to try to plug along and see what happens. Making fun of TikTok foolishness. You know, that's why okay. Gotcha. Well, I'm trying not to watch myself, but I'm also looking at the chat too, so that's been kind of difficult. But let me see. Let me see if I can close this out. Go ahead and do this. And then just leave the chat up. Okay, there's the chat. Got the chat open. Hopefully now it should be a little bit easier. Let's see. Anyways, right now what we're taking a look at is 18Z Euro data. And what I'm looking at more so than anything, there's two particular features, which is why I talked about it in my recent video today, that it's looking a lot more promising that this storm is going to go out to sea, mainly because of this sharp amplitude ridge in the center of the Atlantic, the remnants of Idalia that still continue to spin off the northeastern coastline. And then we also have a little bit of an embedded upper low inside the same ridge that's keeping Idalia sort of stagnant off the northeastern coastline. Those are our three weather players in the Atlantic right now. And off the coastline, or I should say further inland, we have another trough axis that's getting ready to come close to the eastern coast. And that's also going to help provide us with a bit of a force field, as I like to call it. We still doing okay? Coming in all right? I can't see the stream health. I have everything minimized. There we go. Okay, good. So those are the biggest factors. If I go back to 12Z, we'll see it pretty plain as day. What ends up happening is, and I take, a little bit of humble pride in this, but my experience in the Air Force and all of my synoptic meteorology has helped with environment in the atmosphere. And you can start to pick up on these things and sort of identify way in advance what's going to happen. Loading. All right. You know what? What we're going to do is, until I can figure out the bugs, I'm going to go ahead. That's not what I wanted to do. Shucks. All right. We're really lagging up now. I'm going to take the screen share off. And I'm just simply going to talk for the time being. Let me go ahead and take this out. Remove. And I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at that. I'm going to leave it just as I used to do it on Instagram. I can show you guys information if need be. How are we looking right now? I think we need to throw YouTube out into the Atlantic. Yeah, I agree, Alexandra. That's what's kind of bumming me out right now. When I used to do these Instagram live streams, I would just do it obviously on my phone. And I'm wondering if I should try to do it via a webcam and show the screen that way, or just simply find a better software and pull up one image at a time, something like that. But I want to say it is the PC. It could be the software. I don't know. I'm going to definitely, this is showing that I have a lot of homework to do after this, which is good though. I like, getting the chance to do extra homework on this subject. Let me turn the screen over this way so I can actually look at you guys too. There we go. Now I can actually see the comments and I'm looking at the screen. So I would hope that by now everything is going a little bit better. I don't have anything shared. I have everybody in the background. I'm just live. And there it goes lagging again. What other questions do we have, Dust? It could have Dust as well. I got to go through and figure everything out on this thing. But how many folks do we have in here? I haven't even been paying attention to that. Let's see. Let's go back to YouTube. That's what I was using earlier, OBS, and it dorked it up even more than StreamYard right now. What do you think the peak will be? I say 145 miles per hour. 145 miles an hour is definitely not out of the realm of possibility. The thing is, where this storm is projected to move, we had a lot of upwelling associated with Hurricane Franklin. Make this your test live. It'll get better, man. Sounds like there are people here willing to help. Oh, of course. Yeah, no, absolutely. Right now, please, if you guys can still hear me, I'm going to put it in the chat. If you want, at least until I can figure this out and do some more test lives, because I definitely should have tested this in advance, go on my Instagram. I'm going to put it in the chat, WXCenter_Nazario. Follow me there. Please reach out. We can talk there as well. If you want to give me any information or feedback or constructive criticism on my live stream, please let me know as soon as you can. Drop me a follow, drop me a line right now so we can get to communicating on there, because I definitely want to improve these live streams. There's so much on the table that I want to bring to you guys, and it's a shame that I have so many people watching right now, far more than I thought I would, and the stream's dorking up on us. It's such a, but most of the models are minimum Cat 4. Yeah, minimum Cat 4. Some of them are trying to go Cat 5. Flyers that indicate possible Cat 5 strength. I just don't know if it's sustainable for a long track storm like this. That's fine if you don't have Instagram. Whoever does have Instagram, I have my I put my Instagram in the chat. 185. That's definitely, a real thing. But I don't know if we're going to get that strong with this storm. If it would have developed by now, if it was something out there in the Atlantic, then maybe. This could be one of the craziest September hurricanes, especially if it hits land. Yeah, it could possibly. I really hope this storm doesn't hit land. Neither do I. If it does, then that's going to be real bad. Even if it comes through Bermuda, which is what most of the ensembles are thinking right now, that's even more dangerous, because Bermuda is such a tiny little piece of land. Obviously, it's an island, and it's not going to weaken down or have an opportunity to go over any substantial landmass for it to dissipate. So they're going to get the full force of it and then some. So the depression that will become Lee still going on an eastern path or going north? Well, actually, James, it's going west right now, and I don't believe he's formed into an actual depression just yet. We're still waiting on that. If this becomes a Cat 5, I think at most it will peak at 175. We're getting a little outlandish now, guys. I definitely see this becoming a major hurricane, but I don't know if we're going to get that far ahead. I don't know. We're going to have to see what happens once it can clear that dry air and stay in a more favorable upward vertical motion style environment. The shear looks good. The dry air is really bad right out in front of it. And if it continues to move at the click that it's going to run smack dab into it. This early on, models can easily reverse. Yes, they can, definitely. Although I will say, typically by now, if the models were going to be in pretty poor agreement, it would have been indicated by now. We would have had things flip flopping back and forth like crazy, and that hasn't really been happening, thankfully. Maybe we'll disappear in the Bermuda Triangle. Just say, hope. Yep, it's just going to disappear. That's it. Vaporized. To be fair, there's some pretty strange things going on out there right now. Shucks, we have Franklin now that's going to pull a Return of the Living Dead, and he's coming back south and headed for España. He's headed for Spain and Portugal. Have you experienced a hurricane? I've experienced several hurricanes. I've experienced everything that there is in terms of significant weather outside of a tornado. Still have yet to put myself in the path of a tornado. Could be anything from a fish storm to a Hugo. I'm definitely thinking more fish storm. I don't know if there's any other. Where is your local young man? I'm not too sure what that means. Where's your local? Where am I local to? I'm local to Central. I wish I was still young. Shucks, I'm kicking 30 here very soon. Irma was a treacherous storm. Irma was very bad. Irma and Maria were both very bad storms. Nazario, when a wave has circulation like that, it can intensify rapidly at any time. Oh, yeah, absolutely, for sure. It's just, unfortunately, it hasn't done so yet because it has a lot of dry air still enveloped within its center. You can see the thunderstorm activity keeps trying to pop off and dissipate pretty rapidly because of that dry air intrusion. It's looking more like typical air mass style thunderstorms that we'd see over inland areas as opposed to a convective complex forming from that circulation of latent heat in its center. But I agree, whenever a wave has circulation like that, it definitely has the ability to further deepen, especially since we don't have a whole lot of shear going on. My first storm was Francis 2004. First storm was Francis. Okay, so my first storm was Charlie of 2004, but I'd been watching hurricanes even before that. I was looking at, I remember Hurricane Aaron, Hurricane Floyd, Hurricane Dennis were big ones in the early 2000s. I was watching those on the Weather Channel, Channel 13, WFTV, West 2, all the local news stations in Central Florida. What percent likely would we Florida get hit by Lee if it strengthens? Other channels act like it's very, very. I was just going to get to that, James. Like India. Charlie was a big scare. It missed, thankfully. Where did it miss? Because Charlie came right through us. Charlie, and the funny thing is, my dad and I got into a bit of a shouting match because I was watching the radar so closely, and I'm telling him it's coming east. It's moving into Central Florida, and no one in my family wanted to listen until all of a sudden, Tom Terry broke in on WFTV and mentioned that it's moving east, disregard what you saw from National Hurricane Center, and it's hitting hard. But James, going back to your question, I agree. In my last couple of videos, especially the few that actually got a couple thousand, 46,000 was my most recently highest viewed video, and I felt good about that. But there were a lot of folks who mentioned in the comments that I was, traditional fear mongering and hyping it up. And the last few videos, I haven't really hyped anything. I haven't talked projected path. I haven't talked impact probability. The only area I really want to pay close attention to are our Northern Antilles Islands of the Lesser Antilles. They've been under the gun to potentially see this storm a lot more than anybody else, and now most recently Bermuda. I still take what is going on with the GFS with a grain of salt. I don't know about the mid-Atlantic states or the Northeast getting hit by it. We'll have to see. Yes, I watched Tom say we'll take a slight shift. Yep, you're right. Tampa definitely missed. They got the weak side of the storm, just like with Ian last year. South Carolina, North Carolina more likely to be affected. It could. I mentioned that yesterday. It looked like the Carolinas are trying to get bullseyed by the GFS, but definitely keep an eye out. We still have quite a ways away, and that's another reason, because it's so far out. I know it sounds cliche, and it makes it seem like we don't know what we're doing, but at the same time, with as unpredictable as this season has been, you just never know. Look at Franklin right now. He's moving south and into Europe. You never really hear us talking about that kind of stuff, at least from what I can remember. That's never been a thing. Just like when Franklin was initially in the Caribbean, I've never really seen a storm park itself in the Central Caribbean and decide it's going to do a rocket ship and go straight north. Typically, climatologically speaking, they head west, and then it becomes fair game for the likes of Western Florida all the way into Texas and even northern Mexico. Thank you, Janice. I really appreciate that. On the screen. Am I still doing okay? Am I coming in clear? Wilma was a don't even get me started on Wilma. That's why I don't understand why people are like. Granted, Wilma didn't make landfall as anything substantial. I mean, the Yucatan got wrecked by Wilma, but exactly, Wilma was definitely she was gone, blasted through. Wilma is still the record holder for lowest central pressure. And it's incredible that sometimes, or I shouldn't say sometimes, that no one is really bringing up Wilma or the likes of Katrina, Rita. 2005 was an erroneous season. Katrina, I knew it was a bad storm. Yeah, Katrina, 2020s. But we had some real whoppers of storms move through in 2004, 2005, and I believe there were a few even in 06 and 07. Like the mid-2000s was in 2004. And every part of Florida, for that matter. We had the West Coast, the East Coast twice, the Panhandle, and then Ivan whipped back around and we got smacked upside the head by him a second time. Andrew was a very costly storm. See, and Andrew was such a compact storm, too. He was only half the size of the Florida Peninsula. I remember Tropical Storm Faye. That actually rings a bell. Yeah, I do recall. All right, folks, while the comments are rolling in, it looks like we still have 55 people watching. Please hit me with your questions or comments. I don't have a screen shared right now. I need to figure that out. I definitely need to figure that out and try to get that situated for next time. I think, if anything, what I'm going to do is tomorrow I will go ahead and just hit my usual video update, especially if there are things to talk about. And then Wednesday evening at 8 p.m., we'll come back on here and we'll do another live stream if I can get this figured out and get the latency issues fixed up, or God forbid, figure out a workaround if I can't stream with some kind of third-party software. Hurricane Matthew was another big one, then a break until Debbie. I remember Debbie. Yep. I remember Debbie in 2012 as well. That was shortly after I shipped out for the Air Force too, if I'm not mistaken, Debbie. Hurricane Matthew was another costly storm. Idalia might not be retired. I've been seeing that. I've been seeing that a lot. Hurricane Dorian we were talking about that like crazy back in the synoptic realm back in my old squadron, the 25th Operational Weather Squadron. We were talking Dorian tremendously. But I've been seeing that Idalia might not get retired. I've also been seeing that a lot of folks are trying to dispel what she did to northern Florida. I've been getting a lot of folks mentioning that she was nothing more than a tropical storm or maybe a low-grade Cat 1 when she came ashore. And the video evidence and all that just doesn't make any sense. It does not add up. That's a good idea. Yeah, a couple test streams. I'm probably going to do a little more research over the next 24 hours on what software works best. See if I can figure out OBS, because OBS is what I use for my regular videos. This is the YouTube generation. I'm saying young people all over starting their own channel, so good luck, Matt. Idalia will be tired. It should $10 billion of damage and strongest storm to hit North Florida, worst storm. So yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. Some people are thinking tropical. Yeah, some people are thinking tropical storm Idalia. I know you said Ida, but some people are still claiming that Idalia was a tropical storm, which I don't understand how that works. I don't know where people get their information from. It's another reason why I really hope that this channel starts to pop off big time and we get higher than 2,000 subs, because I just don't like all the weird. We're talking about how the fitness industry has a lot of toxicity and misinformation, but I feel like the more I immerse myself in the weather community, I see that there's a lot of misinformation out there. Yeah, see, and for a lot of us, Idalia didn't do very much at all. In Florida, even, they had tropical storm warnings issued left and right. There were hurricane warnings along the coastline, and I think they overestimated the wind field on that storm. But regardless, it doesn't change the fact that it really hit the North Florida area hard. Taylor County still without power. That's sad. Wow, Taylor County still without power. That goes to show. There's no way. I refuse to let people downplay any storm, even a tropical depression. To say that you got hit by a tropical depression, albeit it's nothing catastrophic, it's still, you never know what's going to happen, because these storms have their own entities and all that. And every storm is different. Every storm is unique. How bad could Lee be? Lee could be very bad. It's just a matter of where is it going to go. And right now, all the models really indicate that this storm should stay out in the Atlantic. And if I could scare my screen, if I could scare it into working, if I could share my screen, I would definitely point out exactly why I think it is going to stay away from any kind of mainland U.S. impact. Just because of what we have setting up over North America. We have at 300 millibars, which is almost at the top of the atmosphere, that there's a jet max getting ready to work its way through the Alaskan Peninsula and the Pacific Northwest and British Columbia of Canada. And what those jet maxes do is, if you think of the west to east jet flow across, the uppermost portion of the northern hemisphere, when we get these jet maxes entering troughs and ridges in the upper atmosphere, they deepen the amplitude. It's kind of like dropping a whole load of water into a pool that has been glass still and filling it up with extra up, and the water hits the surface, it creates waves. Same concept. Isn't Tropical Tidbits like a predicting app or something? It's not a predicting app. It's more of just a forecast model. Yeah, exactly. It shows information. You can get forecast models, analysis data. They have different homepages for invest areas and actual named storms and disturbances. But very good website. I like Tropical Tidbits. I think if I had to pick my top 3 sites that I swear by, it would probably be Tropical Tidbits, weathermodels.com, and then I also go to College of DuPage a lot, although ever since starting to use weather models, I don't go on there as much. But College of DuPage, meteorology is also a really good site. Yeah, Rita was no joke either in 2005. Rita was almost on the same caliber of Katrina, which is why I find it very bizarre that folks tend to forget about it so much. Did you see the U.S. strat of seeing this potential? Did the U.S. say potential system decrease the chance of impact or no change? If you're asking about the potential for a U.S. landfall, it's pretty low. Pretty low. Definitely right now, very low. I watch many YouTube weather channels. I stumble on yours, watched a few videos, and soon hit the subscribe button. Live isn't essential for your stream. You present your content very well. In my opinion, your channel grows just from your presentation content. Thank you. Thank you, James. That means a lot. I'm definitely trying to get a little more fancy with my creativity in the videos. That way it's not just simply me doing a whole talk show for the 10, 15, 20 minutes I'm on there. But I sincerely appreciate you guys' support. Actually, it goes without saying, I'm only doing this for you guys. Like, this is really exciting. It's awesome to be on a stream, even with 45 folks right now. I see people are starting to taper off. I'm probably going to call it here soon and start doing my homework to provide an even better stream for you all, because throughout the rest of the tropical season, my standard or my path ahead, my plan of attack is to start doing these live streams at least 3 times a week, a Monday, Wednesday, Friday type of thing, with my routine updates as been projected so far. And if we do get the opportunity to cover another significant storm like Idalia, for example, I'll definitely amp up the coverage as well, pending my time permits. Nate was retired, so should Idalia. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens in terms of retirement and whatnot. You should have 1 million subs. Honestly, that's the dream right there. Not even going to lie. The goal, but I'm going to say more so the dream. I'll be happy with 10,000 subs. You're the first to cover Idalia for it. Thank you, Corey. Thank you. Actually, you know what? I jumped out of my seat the other day because I decided, just for fun, I was reviewing old YouTube videos that even though they're not that old. I mean, I talk like I've been doing this for so long. It's only been a few weeks. And I was reviewing one of my videos I posted with the thumbnail, "What's that?" And I remember in the video I distinctly mentioned I could see, and this is before it was in the Caribbean, even before it had taken shape in the monsoonal trough in the Pacific, and I distinctly saw verbatim, I can see this headed up towards the Big Bend area or the panhandle of Florida, and I stood up like, somebody hire me already. But thank you guys. Thank you for the wonderful comments. 10 million subs, shoot. Getting up there with the Corey Kenshins and the Markipliers, for those of you who watch any gaming videos or any video game YouTubers and all that. But I'm noticing that the concurrent viewers are dropping. I think I'm going to go ahead and get ready to call it. Technically, we've reached the over-the-hour threshold. It's 9:04 time over here. Does anyone have any additional questions right now? Anything that I can answer for them? We are your first livers. I know I will stay with you. Keep up your excellent analyses. Thank you very much, Nancy. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best for you guys. This is an excellent opportunity for me to continue to grow and learn alongside you guys. And it's been a process. It's been a fun process. It's been tiring, I'll tell you. I'm only 20 episodes deep as of today with Weather Center Nazario, but it feels like I've been at this grind for a little bit. And it's so humbling to see that, it's working. It's working out. I didn't foresee this. I definitely couldn't have predicted this, but it's been cool so far. Even if this does not make landfall in the United States, there's unlikely scenario we can still get a rough surface and rip currents. Oh, yeah. If it goes any further to the west, which actually, you know what? Before we get out of here, guys, I just want to make one note. One thing I posted on my Instagram, for those of you who have gone over to the follow me, I think it's my most recent post, the German model, the Icon model, doesn't go out as far as all the rest of our models, but I've noticed it wants to keep it much further south up against the Caribbean. So as we get more model data in from the Icon down the road, I definitely want to see what that does, because the Icon has definitely been doing some funky things with the system, and it's been the outlier most of the time, while everyone else is screaming major hurricane, watching the trends and what it persists in doing. And the Icon has been bullseyeing a lesser Antilles, greater Antilles, like Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic kind of impact, and then it's a matter of if it wants to turn it out. So obviously there's still that very small 10 percentile, we'll say, chance that this storm decides it's going to do whatever the heck it wants to do. I mean, look at what Idalia did. All of our models are predicting Yucatan Peninsula, weak tropical storm, and then Panhandle, and the dang thing formed up about 2 days early and hiked its way up towards the Panhandle as a major hurricane. So the weaker it is, the more likely U.S. landfall is. Technically speaking, yes, I still do believe that our frontal systems and the trough that's coming across the country later on into this week, into early next week, is what's going to help protect at least the coastline initially. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. This is still, we're talking 200 plus hours out, which is 7 to 10 days out from now. So a lot can change if I'm looking at an area in the Pac Northwest of the United States, trying to cross-reference it with a system in the East Atlantic. Like, that's what I was trying to emphasize in whatchamacallit, I think it was yesterday's episode, not today's episode, but yesterday's episode, I mentioned that I'm looking at features that are coming from the Pacific over Western Canada and the northwestern quadrant of the U.S., going back towards what we have in the Eastern Atlantic. Make sure your computer can have enough RAM, makes that a right frames rate. Yeah, what I need to do is I got to go back into OBS when we're not streaming and figure out how to get that keyframe set up, because I was looking in between all the lag to see if I can adjust it, and it just wasn't cooperating. I couldn't find anything that was mentioned that could possibly adjust it or fix that issue. So I'm going to have to go back in there on my own time and see it. My opinion is at least 32 gig RAM if you want all the background screens running. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I have like a baby tower here. This was not meant to get on YouTube and do all this. I think I'm pushing the limits of this bad boy as of now, because this was not the plan. I kind of finally went out on a limb and made my Weather Center page, and I have no regrets. Lord willing, I can upgrade all this stuff and really dig into doing some really awesome live streams. If a hurricane passed your location, make a video about it. I think someone had mentioned, let me go up in the chat real quick. Somebody did ask if, let me see. Yes, PM, to your comment earlier, do I plan on storm chasing? 175%. I've actually been out and done some storm chasing already, not only for hurricane season, but just with some pretty severe thunderstorms that we've had in Central Florida earlier in the late spring, beginning of summer before hurricane season. I just didn't have the channel or the Instagram up just yet to start putting out that kind of video content. But yes, especially if you get a storm here in Florida that doesn't require me to travel anytime soon, that is definitely something I want to do. I really want to get out there and get some storm chasing content, some videography for you guys, take some obs and see what the winds do, what the rains do, what sort of actual surface phenomena we get out of these storms as they come inland and during landfall, you know, because I feel like that's certain things that a lot of YouTubers and a lot of weather folks on social media don't really do, and I want to do that. Take careful observation and record keeping of these storms. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to everybody, and this was kind of the intent with Tropics Talk. I mean, unfortunately, the initial part of the stream went awry, and we didn't get to talk too much tropics, but cordial, you know, it's not as initiative with the camaraderie. And that's kind of what I want to do these live streams for, is because with my YouTube videos, I'm talking to you guys, and that's it. I'm just talking to the camera and you listen. Whereas winded spiels and actually talk with you guys as opposed to you guys. And I think that's so awesome. I used to be really big in my car Instagram before COVID hit. And that's one thing that a lot of folks said they appreciated about my car page was my interactiveness and throwing my personality in there in communication with everybody, as opposed to just, here's my car. And in this case, I'm not making this channel to do, here's the weather. Because, I mean, you guys can just pull up, you know, your apps and go to the weather channel and do a quick Google search. There we go. Yeah, Nance, that's a good way to put it. This is a personal introduction. For those of you who don't know, I think a lot of folks who comment on my videos, especially the ones who claim me to be another fearmonger, they don't know that I do have now going on 11 years of experience in atmospheric science and meteorology, and I'm only a year or two away from getting my degree in geosciences with a focus in broadcast meteorology. The main reason I started this channel was not necessarily for the subscribers. I mean, thank you guys. I love y'all for that. It's been amazing so far. It's been such a learning curve for me, but I started this because one of the broadcast meteorology classes I took said that the more information and the more videography you can put of yourself online, the higher chances you have of getting into an actual broadcast studio. So, I mean, shoot, if I can make a huge following on YouTube with y'all, doing the weather here and then eventually segue into televised meteorology, that's the perfect, we'll call that the perfect storm. All the puns intended. Thank you, Robert, or Robert's girl. Thank you for that. 11 years. It's not a whole lot of experience, but I mean, it's more than some could say, and I think it's enough to at least try to communicate an accurate picture to everybody. Get into bourbon drinking as a huge group in Florida. Bourbon's a little strong for me. I like my little Seagrams. I'm a baby when it comes to alcohol, but you never know. If we create another separate chat for that and do some outings here in the Florida area, I don't mind the commute. Shucks, we can make a whole thing out of it. If we get another storm going through, we can do like a pre-meet. Get together pre-meet before landfall and then talk smack about how, we're going to get completely jacked up here in a couple hours. Let's have a couple brewskis and wait for it to hit in. Maybe we'll see you with Jim. Oh, dude, that would be awesome. I've been watching Jim Cantori for a long time, and that's the running joke in my family is I'm going to be the next Jim Cantori. So we'll see. Charlie and Francis scared the hell out of me. That's why I want to educate people about this stuff. 19 years of counting. Heck yeah, I like that. That's awesome. Maybe you should definitely pursue a degree or at least get a number of years of experience under your belt. I can't call myself a meteorologist just yet, but I'm definitely a weather analyst. I've done 7 years of large scale weather analysis, and I've done a total of 10 years of operational actual forecasting, point-based forecasting, and, large scale full continental wide forecasting. I've done deployment style weather forecasting as well. I had to forecast during my time in the Middle East as well. So that was a whole different beast of experience that I got. Talk about low data forecasting, or what did we call it? We called it I think that's what it was. It was like low forecast data. Yeah, something along those lines. It was a low populated data. Was it data sparse forecasting? If you're ever drinking bourbon on stream, there's a storm brewing, literally. I love that. The event that something blows up on us. But all right, I'm starting to notice that there's a little bit of lag coming back into the stream, and we're slowly but surely dropping viewers. We're down to 36 now, so I think we're going to go ahead and call it good. Folks, thank you very much for tuning in for the first live stream of Weather Center Nazario, our Tropics Talk. This is going to be a year-round talk going forward, or chat, I should say, albeit obviously after November, we can't really call it Tropics Talk, so there will be additional streams to come in the near distant future once the tropical season has concluded. I just released a rum brand out of Jacksonville, but I'm on the west coast of Florida. Where you from? Drink's very smooth. If you need any help testing, reach out. Okay, shucks, I might take you up on that. You have what it takes to do it. Very articulate. Thank you very much. I've had a lot of experience in, doing stand-up weather briefings, and I think this is a wonderful platform to continue to spread out my experience and cultivate that skill. Here we go. That's another deployed location out there across the ocean from us. But for those of you still watching, my 34 viewers, thank you very much. Have a very wonderful evening. We'll see you on Wednesday. You can expect another video released from me tomorrow, a full-fledged episode 21 of Weather Center Nazario. We'll keep an eye out on what happens with Lee, if he does finally get his act together and start forming up, and what's likely to happen in the future, because it looks like we're not going to get a full reprieve from tropical activity until maybe October. So we'll see. There might be a couple of waxing and wanings going on, but to be determined. We'll see you guys back Wednesday night at 8 p.m. for another Tropics Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, as you know, got to finish up with the trademark line. This is Weather Center Nazario, signing out.